Both you and I have both experienced those aha moments when we're listening to somebody convey a message and it's clear, it hits us right in the head, we process it, and we understand it. But we've both also had those moments where somebody's conveyed a message to us and we're kind of sitting there like, didn't quite catch that one. What makes the difference between a message understood and a message misunderstood? Clarity. Now, finding clarity is something that we should all strive for in our lives. When it comes to clarity and communication, though, that comes with the word articulation. What is articulation? Now, when people hear that word articulate, they start to think, oh, I have to use big words, I have to speak really professional, I have to sound like a politician or a teacher or professor. And that's not actually what being articulate or having clarity in your speech actually means. Somebody who's good at articulating is basically someone who's clear, someone who's easy to understand, someone whose message sticks, someone who creates connection, and most of all, they can create that aha moments within you and me. One thing that I want to make clear when it comes to your ability to articulate yourself is something that I learned from a communications coach named Yasir Khan. He spoke a lot about the imagery that comes with somebody speaking and articulation. To be articulate is to be able to create images that stick in people's minds. Most people, when they hear somebody speaking, they're not picturing the words being typed out. They're starting to imagine images and the things that they experience in their lives that line up with what that person is saying. It's important that if you want to articulate yourself well, you're able to create imagery in people's heads with how you're delivering your message. Storytelling is an art in itself, but being able to incorporate the art of storytelling into your communication is a great way to create these images in people's heads. So for example, if I wanted to describe to you Usain Bolt, one of the fastest men who's ever lived on our planet, and how fast he is. If I were to explain Usain Bolt like this, Usain Bolt was able to run 23 miles per hour. He's so fast that he was able to beat everyone, and I mean everyone in the world in his race. You'll be able to take away that Usain Bolt is a really fast guy and he's beating everybody in the world. Now, if I wanted to leave you with an image that stuck with you in order for me to be a little bit more articulate and connect with you, I would say something along the lines of, Usain Bolt was so fast, it almost felt like I was watching a jaguar chase down an antelope on National Geographic. He was insane. It looked like the wind was following him. Just that example gives you something that you can paint in your head that gives you more of a connection to what the fact of the matter I'm actually saying is. Being able to implant images in people's minds based on how you're articulating yourself is a skill that you'll be able to practice just by using different things like analogies, metaphors, comparisons, memories, and being descriptive as possible when you're speaking to somebody. Another technique that's truly going to help you develop your articulation skills is taking the time to write out your thoughts. Personally speaking, I hated the idea of writing because I like to talk. I prefer to get my thoughts out there and speak in conversations, record myself speaking, and just get it out rather than to sit there and try to write. For whatever reason, to me, when I try to write, it's harder to get what I want out than it is to just speak what I want to say. Until I began to write out my thoughts, I was a rambler. Meaning I was somebody who spoke with no purpose. I was somebody who spoke more than I needed to, and I was somebody who added more details and more words, more context, too much to my delivery that it almost took away from the real message of what I wanted to deliver. Taking the time to write allowed me to start focusing on what I wanted to deliver in each message. The true sign of a good communicator is somebody who can deliver a message as short as possible and as clear as possible. Writing is going to help you find that skill for yourself because it'll let you write out all the thoughts and the words and the ideas and the phrases and the sentences that you have in your head. Get that on a piece of paper and you'll be able to organize those thoughts, condense those thoughts, and become more succinct in your delivery for the message you have in your mind. Writing has changed the way I have conversations. It's changed the way I do my YouTube videos. It's changed the way I view social media. It's even changed the way I want to market myself into the world. Because now that I can write, I'm able to reflect and be a mirror to my own self and my own thoughts and make sure that the thoughts that I'm putting out in the world are a true reflection of what I'm thinking. Because I'm able to write my thoughts down, I'm able to view, draft, revise, condense, refine, and re-deliver. And as I've been able to do that, something that maybe took me 3-4 paragraphs to deliver years ago, I'm able to deliver in 2-3 sentences now, simply because I wrote it down, I refined it, I fleshed it out, and I also simplified it to make it more clear and make it more articulate. Another thing that's truly going to help you with your articulation skills is pacing. Being somebody who added a lot of extra context and filler words to his speaking, I learned that the best way to avoid doing that, next to writing and next to creating imagery in people's minds, was to make sure that I'm pacing myself. When I speak, because I have so much I want to say, I want to get it all out. I want to make sure I keep your attention. I want to make sure that you're hearing me. And that's something that we can all relate to when we have an idea that gets us excited. It's important to be able to take a breath, to pace, to pause, to think, and to ensure that you're delivering the message in the way you want it to be delivered. Because most of all, it gives your listeners an opportunity to process. When practicing the skill of pacing yourself, just speak slower. This will help make sure that all of your words are intentional. Now, obviously, you don't want to speak as slow as I was just speaking, but when you slow down your pace, it really allows for you to make sure that you don't use any unnecessary words to deliver the message that you want. It helps you think, it helps you make sure you're clear, and it helps the person listening to you process every single thing that you're saying. There is no such thing as a good or a bad public speaker. There's no such thing as good or bad communication. Public speaking is all subjective based on your preference for what you want to hear. But when it comes to communicating a message, delivering it clearly, connecting with people, articulation is important. Some people really like fast talkers. Some people really like slow talkers. Some people only like political speeches. And some people like hearing post-game interviews where the athletes are super tired and can barely get out a full sentence. It's all subjective to your preference for what kind of speaking you like to hear. But in terms of delivering yourself, it is important to make sure that you practice articulation. So it's important to take the time to master your voice. Find your style, find your voice, and find the way to deliver the message the way you want the message to be delivered. Emulate speakers and take parts from this person, this industry, that industry, in order to synthesize all those different strands of information into one perfect version of your communication style. One core, unique style for yourself, so that way you can deliver your message the way you want to, and you can be a master of your own unique communication style. Mastering communication isn't something that happens overnight, and it's something that you should constantly be a student of. Even myself, no matter how much I put these videos out to help you with your unique style of communication, I'm always going to remain a student of the idea of communication. But one thing I will say is a non-negotiable to become an effective communicator is your ability to articulate yourself. But always remember this, don't judge your articulation based on how smart you sound and the words you use and your ability to sound like a politician. Look at me and my impressive vernacular, me and my extensive vocabulary. It's not about that. Judge your articulation based on how many different groups of people can understand the message that you are delivering. It's really about being able to deliver your message clearly, to be understood, and most of all, to connect with the person that you want to connect with. And that's the most important part of articulation. Can you be as clear as you want to be for the person you want to be clear to? Thanks for watching this video. You already know what it is. It's Apex, Laurent. Keep watching. What we do here is help you find your unique style of communication. I grow, you grow, we go. Communication is the key to building the ceiling of your future. Subscribe, like, comment, engage. More to come.